you watched my video last week on the 10 things to know before buying an Asian Arowana, and you ended up buying one. Hey, what's up guys, Abhishek from AV Studio. So now that you've got an Asian Arowana, how are you going to take care of it if you're a beginner? I was a beginner a few years ago, and I struggled a lot, but there were a lot of experts around who helped me, and today I think I know a little bit about Asian Arowanas. Maybe not in the league of some of the experts, but surely a little bit to help some of the beginners like yourself to start off in the hobby. Okay, so today we are going to talk about how to take care of an Asian Arowana, or rather what do I do to take care of my Asian Arowanas. Before we get started with the taking care of the Asian Arowana bit, as you're aware that I have extended the dates of the contest for you to participate for the hunt for the best Arowana in India, and now you know the new dates, of course, which is the 9th of April, and that's at 10 a.m. in the morning. That's where is the cutoff, and I'm going to give you the dates of when the results are going to be out and when the judging starts, when are those videos going to be up on this channel. So stay tuned till the end of the video to know those dates. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you get all the notifications, and most importantly you get to see all the beautiful Arowanas that are taking part in the contest. Alright, so let's get started. So I'm gonna quickly tell you what are some of the things that I do which I think are right. What are some of the things that I do which I am not entirely sure which are right or not, and some people have told me to do it differently, and I'm contemplating whether I would do that or not. So let's get started on that. So we're going to divide this video into a few parameters. So we're going to talk about the kind of tanks that I have, the kind of lights I use, what is my water change schedule, and what is the kind of filtration I use, and what food do I give to my Arowana, and if there are any accessories in the tank that I have. Okay, so let's start with the tank itself, and I am going to kind of keep this a little specific to the golden Arowana for the time being. Of course, at a later point in time in a different video we could talk about how I take care of my red Arowana as well, but this one is going to be mainly for the golden Arowana. Okay, so it's in a white tank. I had basically made this tank, or rather I had custom made this tank for the Singh Arowana golden head that I had, which unfortunately didn't survive. And this tank was made by sapphire glass, and all the sides have sapphire glass. Generally what we tend to do is to have normal glass on the three sides, as in the two sides, the back and the bottom, and the front would be either clear or extra clear. But what I've decided to do is go with extra clear all throughout in different all the sides of the tank, basically to ensure that when I put a white vinyl, because you want to use a white vinyl for a golden Arowana, that there is less of the greenish tinge, because glasses mostly have a greenish tinge to it, so kind of somewhere negates the whiteness of these white vinyl. So I thought it'd be a good idea, and while I cannot get fiber tanks simply because obviously where would I keep them, and secondly they're extremely expensive, I don't even know where to get them. So I tried to make the environment as close to a white fiber tank as possible. So I use a 12 mm sapphire glass tank with dimensions of 5 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. I guess it should be enough for the entire life of the Arowana, but right now he's a small guy, just about 12 inches. As and when he grows, we'll see. But generally the saying is that you should have a tank, like I said in my previous video, you should have a tank which is 3 times the size of your Arowana. For now we are way above that. 12 inches 5 times is 60 inches, which is 5 feet, so we're good with that at the moment, but in future I may change the tank, so I don't know at the moment. Next, let's move on to the kind of lights I use. I keep telling everyone that I use T5 white lights 10,000 Kelvin, and that is it. I stick to that. So I said in one of my previous videos that I've got these T5 lights from Umino online. It's an online shop. They have got these Hopar lights which are 10,000 Kelvin and various wattages, various sizes depending on what you need. These are more of planted tank fixtures, and I've kind of managed to put that in place inside my tank. So a white vinyl tank, a sapphire glass tank with a white vinyl and white lights should be an ideal condition for a crossback or a golden head Arowana. I hope these are the ideal conditions that I've kept him in terms of maintaining the shine and all of those. Well, besides that, in one of the videos that I posted in Facebook yesterday, you must have seen I've put in a tanning light from the front glass. I'm not a big fan of tanning lights, to be very honest. However, I think this one would need a light from the front glass simply because it's a cross belly and it needs those spots to be more prominent on the body. Now when I'm shining the lights from top, it would help with the crossing and the head shine, but it may not entirely help with the body spots. So I've kind of put in a tanning light from the front glass simply because that's the only submersible light I have at the moment, and it's a Kington lights. It's a Kington's 24K gold light. It seems to be a good light. But eventually I'm going to replace that with the Hopar lights, which I have placed an order with Umino, and after obviously this lockdown I'm going to get a couple of those lights and try to hang them from the outside of the tank, and let's see if that helps with the crossbelly spots becoming more prominent. Besides that, I don't really recommend LED lights for golden heads and crossbacks. I don't use them. I don't know whether a lot of other people use it. But then there are other parameters to it. The most important parameter is the water. Now water is something that is extremely important. We know for any fish that's their home, you want to keep it clean with the right parameters, but with Arowana it becomes even more important. There are certain parameters of the water that needs to be maintained and kept stable for it to have the best color and the best of health. I want to do a video very shortly about the same in more detail, and stay tuned till the end of the video where I'm going to tell you what my next 4 videos is going to be about. Okay, so water parameters are extremely important, and in different parts of India the water parameters are different. There are some parts of India the water parameter is so good that maybe you may not even have to use bright white lights for 24 hours a day. Mumbai is not that place, right? So there are places, we'll talk about it more in my video where I talk about water parameters. Right. The next thing I want to talk about, since we are at water, is the water change schedule. So more often than not, people have told me that you need to change water every alternate day, 20 to 30%. I don't do it. I don't know whether I should be doing it, and that's something I am very keen to explore, simply because I firmly believe that if you have a good filtration system, then once a week water change is good enough. So that's what I do at the moment, but I do want to explore the idea of doing an alternate day water change of 20-30%. What I generally do at the moment is that I do big water changes once a week, mainly to get rid of the algae. The water really stays crystal clear in my tank. I never really have seen the water getting murky or cloudy. But of course, because of the various elements or metals in the water, you need to do that change, and also I have a lot of algae in the tank, so that needs to happen. What you should do in terms of water change, well, it also depends upon how your filtration system is, but I do it once a week, but I will explore the idea of doing it once every alternate day or once every 2 days or 3 days. I will try and explore that to see what kind of improvement happens in terms of the overall look and the health of the fish. Now that we are with the topic of water, let's talk about filtration. I have used various different types of filters. I've used power filters, which are submersible ones. I've used top filters, I've used really good canisters, and I've kind of somewhere felt that sump is the way to go. And both my tanks have sumps, and they are mostly filled with biological sponge, as suggested by a very senior hobbyist in the group, Roshan Upadhyay. He mentioned to me multiple times that I should not be experimenting too much with media, and I kind of have taken that advice. But I did have some media before I spoke to him, so I'm kind of keeping that media for the time being, but that's very less. It's just got a few, I think it's burnt clay rings, and I think it's got a bit of Purigen and Matrix. That's pretty much what's there, and that particular chamber is literally empty, and it can have another 10 kilos of media, but I haven't really put, because I want to really experiment and implement Roshan's advice. So I am sticking to that for the moment. However, if you think you want to put a lot of media, you could try. But I also somewhere believe that once the media starts deteriorating, it could impact the quality of the water. So when you have a lot of media from different sources, you must monitor your media very closely to see that they are not deteriorating. And whatever the shelf life of the media is in terms of the usage of it, if they say 6 months, I'd suggest you change it a lot before that, because it could impact the water qualities negatively. Okay, so that was about media. The other thing I want to talk to you about is any other accessories in my tank. So I keep it very clean. If you've seen my videos, my tank really has nothing, especially inside the tank. It's just got a wave maker, and it's there for a very specific reason. Once in a while I do turn that on, and that's mainly because you want to exercise your fish since you're feeding him. Because you do not exercise your fish and you feed him a lot of fatty foods, that could result in a lot of fat accumulation and mainly behind the eye, which could lead to drop eye. That's also going to be one of the videos that I want to do in future, talking about drop eye. So I tend to keep the accessories in the minimal. Of course, in my sump I do have a heater just to kind of maintain the temperature. Of course in Mumbai you don't really need it, but it's just there. I tend to keep it at 29 degrees, and if it falls below 29 degrees the heater turns on its own, which never really happens in the summer season, and very rarely even during winter. I do have a UV sterilizer in it. It's a pond UV sterilizer. It's a brilliant one. It's made by Sansan. I had spoken about it in one of my previous videos, and it was a very elaborate setup that I had shown in one of my previous videos as well. So that's that. And I don't really have anything else. I do have a K1 media reactor, which has got wave maker inside it and all of that, but not really accessories, but just more to do with the media aspect of it. Last but not the least, most importantly, feeding. I'd love to have my Arowana eat pellets. He just doesn't eat it. And while I'm not a big fan of overfeeding my fish to make them look blocky or like a sumo and so on and so forth, but at the same time I'm also not a very big fan of starving my fish just so that he eats pellets. My fish don't even eat prawns very well. Sometimes they do, most of the time they don't. I spoke to the owner of the farm from where I bought my golden Arowana. He suggested I give 2 superworms in the morning and 2 in the evening. That's light food, keeps him happy, will not have too much of fat deposits. So I'm continuing that regime for the moment, but at any point of time, if I have an opportunity to change him over to pellets, I would do that. The only way to do that at the moment seems like you starve him. Well, what I do try, of course, to ensure that the nutrients of the pellets are received by the Arowana is that I gut load the superworms with the pellets and then feed the superworms. You could obviously try other things. If your Arowana is eating something else good for you, try and feed them all of those, what you think, pellets or market prawns, or of course superworms, or the dried shrimps and all of those. There's a whole lot of stuff that you can feed them. See if they eat those. But my Arowanas don't really eat. Maybe they've just become too adamant. They just love their superworms and they just don't want to eat anything else. And I just don't feel like starving them. But that's just me. You could obviously try different things to make them eat. So one important thing, conditioners. I don't use a lot of conditioners. Let's start there. When I'm changing water, I put hypochlorite. I don't have a storage facility, so the ideal way would be to store water, put anti-chlorine in it, and then put the water into the tank. I don't have that option, so I put water in through the sump. It just helps a bit. I put it in the first sump. I put it in the first chamber, the water, so it goes through all of the media, and I put some hypochlorite in the last chamber before it goes into the tank. So kind of gets filtered a bit. But because the water flow is a lot, so I don't know how good the filtration is when I'm changing water, but I do use hypochlorite. I use a bit of Prime, sometimes Stress Heal, but I do use a lot of Microbe Lift Special Blend. That's a conditioner that helps in improving the levels of bacteria in the water. That's pretty much it in terms of conditioners that I use. I don't really use any other conditioners. I do have a lot of conditioners lying around, but then I don't really use those conditioners. So this is mostly how I take care of my Arowana. You would have realized that there's nothing elaborate about the whole thing. It's very simple. I like to keep it very, very simple, and that's how I take care of him. You could obviously listen to what I'm saying, or you could speak to a lot of other people who are more expert than me in fish keeping, especially Arowana keeping, or at the same time you could also do your research now that you've got yourself an Arowana and you want to keep your Arowana happy, healthy and beautiful. So that's pretty much it. as far as how I keep my arowana. Now let's talk about the contest. The last date for putting in your entries is 9th April, 10 a.m. in the morning. That's it. I'm not taking any more after that. Okay. At the time of making this video, we had 93 entries. We need 100 to ensure that we give away the super high bag. If there are no 100 entries, then the grand prize is going to get cancelled. You don't want that. So like, share as much as you can, talk to your friends, ask them to participate so that the number of entries increase. If you have a great fish, you will win. Doesn't matter if there are 15 entries, 100 entries or 1000 entries. The best arowana will win. The judging will be starting from next Sunday. That's when all of the videos will go up on my channel right here, and you can all come and see those beautiful arowanas. Sharizal is going to start judging then, and that's going to go on for about 2 to 3 days, and the following Sunday is when the results are going to be out right here on this channel. I'm going to divide each category into separate videos, especially for this special category. Ensure that you tell your friends to comment with the contestant number which I'm going to be assigning to each arowana. So the more comments on a particular arowana ensures that you get closer to that People's Choice Award, which will fetch you 5,000 rupees gift voucher from Lifestyle Aqua. Okay, so everything's happening on this channel for the next 2 Sundays. So obviously I'm not going to come to you with information videos the next 2 Sundays because it's going to be all about the contest. Following that, I'm going to come with 2 videos back-to-back Sundays. So the one is going to be about water. We spoke about it in the beginning of the video, where I'm going to talk to you about the different water parameters. What are the kind of water parameters that's there in Malaysia, especially in Bukit Merah, in Indonesia, in Singapore, in Thailand, in India, within India, the different states, how the water varies and how that's going to be helpful or not so helpful to your arowanas. So I'm going to talk about water, and the following Sunday I'm going to talk about one of the most dreaded things that all of us fear, drop eye. Why does it happen? How can you stop it? What can you do to prevent it? And if it happens, is there a way to cure it? So these are going to be the next 4 videos coming up on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, guys, then please go ahead and subscribe now and hit that bell icon. You don't want to miss out on the next 4 exciting videos that are coming up over the next 4 Sundays. And if you've liked this video, then please go ahead and hit the like button because it means a lot to me. So that's about it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Till I come back in the next one. Peace.